Hey guys, this is Jon
and Austin,
and this is another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. Now, before we get into anything, we're going to have a guest next week. Are you going to be there? Are you going to be here for that?
I don't know. Who's the guest?
The lady who's opening the huge meat processing plant.
Yeah.
So we'll have an interesting guest for you next week. We have restarted our Willet Barbecue.
Unfortunately.
It released today. It's Willet Barbecue Beaver Tail. If you listened to last week's podcast, you already know our thoughts on it, but it's 8 minutes of watching Austin almost throw up.
That ended up to being 8 minutes.
8 minutes. We kept as much as possible every time you got up to go spit. Did you swallow a single piece of that?
No, I could not.
Not a single piece. I'm telling you, into that evening, I could feel it still like coating my teeth. I brushed my teeth, but it still like didn't do it. Didn't get it all clear. Finally, some Listerine got it all out.
Was that the same day that you took the sugar blocker supplement thing?
No, sugar blocker was, what was that?
Was that the week before?
It must have been the week before.
Okay.
Must have been the week before. God, I wish I had taken that sugar blocker. Well, no, because it wasn't even the taste that was necessarily bad. It just tasted like fat in the seasoning. It was the texture.
Yeah, it was texture. Because like we said, coffee tasted worse when we did that Willet Barbecue.
I would agree.
But the texture just...
Beer tasted way worse, but it was just liquid. Who cares about it? Actually, what tasted worse, the coffee or the beer? I can't remember. Beer was so long ago.
Oh... Beer, I don't know. To me, beer might have been worse because you're expecting such a good flavor.
Good.
And coffee, I mean, I like coffee, but it's not like you don't drink it and go, "Oh, this is so good."
Right.
You can do that with beer.
Yes.
Coffee was bad, but I don't know. It could have been technically worse, but I might say the beer is worse. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The things you just listed, if they were ice cream, you'd be the exact opposite. You're like, oh, coffee flavored ice cream, fantastic. Beer flavored ice cream. It depends on what it is, because like the faux coffee flavor, I think we're all fans of now, by the mocha or the Java, whatever. Sure. I think that, to me, I'd rather have that than beer, but the funness that happens after beer, you kind of associate great flavors, great taste, great time. So whatever. Yeah.
I'm more and more almost exclusively drinking sours nowadays.
We're getting very sidetracked, but that's okay.
Whatever.
I would actually slightly argue that beer is not good in ice cream. It depends on what type of beer.
That's what we said.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry, I missed something.
No, we were
there.
on the same. Yeah,
okay, we're good.
No, beer ice cream would be fairly terrible.
I just thought it was funny because you're like, well, of course, I'd rather have the flavor of beer than coffee. And I went, well, unless it was in ice cream.
Patrick just had the contrary. Okay. So go check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. It's also on Meatgistics. It's Willet Barbecue Beaver Tail. We're going to do one of those a month. Travis is pretty much demanding that we do snake next. So
Travis Frank.
So I figure snake is a fairly safe one. I mean, it's a way more regular protein.
Yeah. I just don't like the whole concept of snake. I don't like snakes. To have to put one in my mouth is not going to be a pleasant experience.
No, you're winning. You're eating them.
Yes.
You're the
You've killed it.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's going to come back alive and like bite me.
Oh, God, no. Well, who knows? When we eat the shark, if I have a mental breakdown, we'll know
I
if this is normal
unfortunately,
or not.
as soon as we started this, a story came across where some kid, this isn't new or anything, some kid like ate a slug at a party.
Yep.
And then like a 1 in something million chance of it developing a parasite in his brain and then taking him over, and then like he got completely he couldn't move below the neck and ended up dying like 5 months later. And
Don't ever eat slugs. I think they're all poisonous to some, poisonous to some level.
I got to twist my arm, but listeners, if you're out there, just say no to slugs.
Just say no to slugs. Now, speaking of slugs and other weird things, this is something that Andy gave me a long time ago. It looks like it's a beef stew, so that's what we're going to go with. All of the instructions, all of the everything are in Japanese, I believe. He had a baseball player from Japan staying with him while they were in town doing something, and he left some of this food behind. So that looks like a beef stew to me.
Yeah, the website's Japanese, so it's definitely Japanese.
Yeah.
It says curry on the front, so I was like, well, maybe it's something else, but
no, it's definitely Japanese.
The website is a Japanese website.
Cooking instructions. I'm assuming that one was 2 minutes and that one was 1:30. That's what it looks like. I just went with 2 minutes anyways. So it smells.
It looks like Salisbury steak gravy.
Yeah. It just smells like a beef stew. So I want to try it real quick. And
that's thick.
Yeah. And it's got potatoes in there. So I've got to be careful to avoid those.
Oh yeah. Do I have meat or potato there?
I don't know that there's a way to tell. They all look very similar. Okay. Yeah, that's very tasty.
That's good.
So
heavy on, what is that?
Umami. It's a strong umami flavor.
Oh, but cumin and cinnamon? Like something.
Yeah, there's some cumin in there. I don't know about cinnamon.
I get kind of a cinnamon. I don't know. Can you read the ingredients for us?
Absolutely not. There is no English on this at all. That's how you know that it's authentic.
There is.
Show me where there's English. Oh, household foods. That's it.
Yeah, just everything. Just the website.
I like this though. I'm a fan.
I've always wondered how do you use a computer in like Japan, China, places where their language is like all characters, not letters?
That's a great question.
How do they have a keyboard?
Idea. It must be a keyboard of characters, no?
I don't know, but every word is like a different character. And like a little tiny change to it makes it something different. I don't know. We should ask Johnny if he could take a picture of his keyboard. Yeah. We just, out of curiosity, we want to see what his keyboard looks like. Or we could probably, I guess we have the internet. We could Google it.
Nah, is that as much fun? And not everything you get on the internet is right anyways.
Well, especially if you use Bing like John all the time, because that is the world's worst search engine.
Hey, that is directly from our Emperor Austin.
You can use a different search engine, but personally, I've been using other things besides Google more.
Why? It's perfect. It's been going good. It's even a verb now.
I use only the Brave browser on my phone now.
But we use Edge for the browser on stuff just because it is linked to our Microsoft account. Everything we do internally here's Microsoft. It's better there, but the browser is one thing. The browser is just normally tied to the search engine.
They won't let you. Well, they'll let you change your homepage, but they won't let you change what happens when you new tab it or at the bar at the very top. That automatically goes to Bing. So I just think a couple of jack wagons over there.
Google does the same thing though.
Well, I want that. I don't want Bing.
It's literally the exact same thing, just a different service.
Yeah. No, dude, you yield different results. Like stuff that's a slam dunk. 100%. Stuff that's a slam dunk. Like, I've looked that up in the past. Let me single click away. Bing, it is page 2, like you don't even know where you're at sometimes.
The difference in our search results from Bing to Google is significant. Now, part of that is the webmaster tools when we switched over to waltons.com. And I don't even know if Bing was ever searching correctly waltonsinc.com.
It might not have been, because looking at what was out there, and I don't know, a lot of that's on me, because I swear I did some stuff on it that when we were looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what's going on there.
So beyond that, though, what it was showing was our initial, like when we were testing our last one, the one that we moved off of, when we were testing it, like not on it yet, that's what Bing was searching.
Yeah.
So it would show like things that you could kind of get to, but you couldn't do anything with. You can never place an order. So we tried to fix Bing about a month ago, and hopefully it's starting to come around. But yeah, pain in the butt. Okay.
Pause for a second.
All right. So Brat Fest, our Brat Fest hats have come in. So these are non-stock supplies, so they are not going to be available on the website, only available on the day of the event here at Walton's. I think it's technically more of like a trucker hat.
Kind of, yeah.
What would you call that, Patrick? Patrick's the hat.
It's a expert. Fringe. Well, when you're going bald at such a young age, when it's got it's a foam touch to it, but not too foamy, not too malleable, if that makes sense. So it has a more of the structure that we're used to, but a touch more rounded at the top. So we were talking about this the other day in the office, where it's like the slope of the hat is a touch steeper, I believe, but nothing to like, only 10% more maybe. But
yeah,
it's good. We have all
well.
different size heads around here. Yep. It's depth wise, it's good, and it doesn't crown up too much for sure. It doesn't look like a new era fitted or anything. But
it's got our Walton's Brat Fest logo. And I believe this is a heat transfer because there's too much detail to really do in a screen printing.
Yeah, Pat made that logo.
Yep.
I think
looks pretty awesome.
So, yeah, looks good.
So we're doing Brat Fest. It's August 20th. We started doing, we're going to do 2 a week taste testing, different brats that we have. Justin, our social media guy, Patrick, and I just cook some up. We set the cell phone camera over there, and we just sit down and talk about it, eat it, try it. So hopefully it'll drive some interest. We have actually, did you pay attention to how many tickets we sold today?
Oh yeah, they've been flying.
Yeah, they've been flying.
Yeah, which is exciting because like it's a month out. So something about a month out, it must like automatically get more push from Facebook, Eventbrite, different social media stuff. But because the first month I was looking at it going, I wanted to like pre-sell like 1,000 tickets.
Yeah, it was gonna happen.
And I'm like, at this rate, it's not happening. If we keep going like this, yeah, we'll pre-sell 500, probably not 1,000, but we're still expecting to sell over 1,000 tickets in total. Yeah. But there's lots of people buying tickets already now.
Now it could also be that video that the three of us did. That's what I'm gonna chalk it up to. But yeah, so that's August 20th. We'll have some stuff social media. We'll do a bunch of other stuff on it. This is the Walton's Quick Patty Maker. This attaches to your Walton stuffer, or really any stuffer, any grinder. It's got all sorts of different attachments for it. One of the things that a bunch of people on Meatgistics kept asking for was an insert into it so that we could do breakfast sausage seasoning or breakfast sausage patties. I tried a bunch of different things a couple of years ago, different inserts that you like just make yourself and put in there, and just never worked even remotely well. Well, the people who make that for us are willing to create a new mold that will be smaller, specifically for breakfast patty size. We're going back and forth right now on what to do with the width. I think the most likely thing is it's just going to stay the current width, and then the diameter will decrease.
Oh, you mean like height of the patty?
Yes, the height of the patty. The diameter will be smaller. The height, I guess, of the patty will be smaller. Or, I'm sorry, will be the same.
Yeah, a little thick for breakfast sausage, but to be honest, not a big deal. Just take something and smash it down a little bit more.
Yep. Andy and I were even talking about, well, if we did it that way, could we market it as like a smash burger thing too? But there's too much. There's too many different things to do, so we're probably not going to do that. So probably in the next few months, if you were looking for an insert into your quick patty maker that will do breakfast sausage, we should have that. Okay. This came up on Meatgistics. This is something that I take. Here's what happened. Somebody started talking on Meatgistics about mushroom brats. I'm not a mushroom fan, but I very much recognize that mushrooms have a significant umami flavor, right? So they started doing that, and it just jumped in my mind that I take this, which is a mushroom, it's Cordyceps. I take it on days that I'm going to do legs. Just gives a little bit extra boost. So I thought, ooh, I know what that tastes like, and that does taste like umami. So could I mix that with Ultimate Steak and Roast Rub on a steak and get like a little bit more beefy flavor? So I've got a steak defrosting at home, so that's what I'm going to try tonight. All well and good, great idea, happy. Like, I eat spoonfuls of this. I just glass of water to wash it down. Doesn't taste bad, tastes fine. You're welcome to try some if you want.
I just got to see what the texture is.
It's very, very fine. Like incredibly fine.
Yeah, that seems like you could choke and die on that by putting a spoonful
it's like,
in there.
I don't know how to describe it. Is this clean? No. If we had a clean spoon, I would say you could put it in your spoon. It's not like, it doesn't get up in the air. Huh. Maybe it's dense. I don't know. But it doesn't do that. So mentioned this on Meatgistics, and then Process Head just said, I'd not heard of Cordyceps till now. I just Googled it. Most of the references were for dietary supplements, not as food per se. Researching where it comes from is not exactly for the faint of heart. Wow. So I went and researched where Cordyceps mushrooms come from. I was under the impression that it was just a mushroom. No, it is apparently a mix of a fungus, which mushroom, and caterpillars.
Uh-huh.
What have I been eating? All it says on the back is other ingredients, none, free of sugar, soy, dairy, yeast, gluten, or additives. And the only thing it says on here is Cordyceps, whole plant. That's it. So are the caterpillars maybe just like on the mushrooms? It's like how they say a certain number of maggots can make it into orange juice. They're obviously not cultivating the maggots, but if that's the case, I'll be a lot happier.
Yeah. So
you know what? I don't want to know.
Yeah, you just don't want to know.
Don't want to
Ignorance
know.
is bliss.
Very much so. So we're going to leave it at that. But I am going to try that on a steak. We're going to mix up that and the ultimate steak and roast rub, grill it up, see how it is. Great. All right. So we asked our commercial salesman a while ago to start letting us know when they had new plants that were opening up so that we can talk about them on the podcast so that people in the area of there can get familiar with the plant that is going to be opening. And also, so hopefully that plant can hear them talked about on the podcast and generate a little bit of back and forth goodwill. The first one we have is something called Crow Creek Sioux Tribe, or CCST Hunkpotty Processors. Now they're in Highmore, South Dakota. They've got a pretty cool logo. It looks like they're going to be doing both beef and bison, which is awesome. There's some questions right now if it's going to be just for tribal members or if they're going to open it up to the public. If I had to guess, based on talking to Steven about how a lot of the tribal processing places do it down in Oklahoma, I would guess that it's going to be open to both eventually.
That's what it sounds like to me, is that it will eventually be open to the public, but just like a staged opening.
Which makes sense. I mean, if you have the ability to do almost like a soft opening with members of a smaller community, it's going to go better. You can kind of work out the bugs as you're doing other things or as you're going. Sorry. All right. Anything else before meat matters?
Nope.
I have a feeling this is going to be a short one today. Oop. Moved that incorrectly. All right. So first thing, Texas Agriculture Daily, drought forcing liquidation of Texas cow herds. It says beef cow slaughter has been running over 80,000 head a week. We've had several weeks in a row over that level, and that's the biggest cow slaughter in a decade. Possible short-term dip in beef prices with a lot of these flooding to market. But they even talk about in the article what happened in like 2013, 14, and some of 15 is the same thing that's going to happen here. Beef prices are going to go through the roof over the next couple of years because a lot of it's going to take time to rebuild these herds. It's not like it's just we processed more last month, we'll have extras. No, it takes 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, out of all your protein types, beef is the hardest to recover from.
Yep.
When you have a dip in the population. But yeah, that with how many are going to be slaughtered right now, one would hope that there's a price decrease.
Yeah, who knows?
A little bit, but yeah, afterwards it'll skyrocket.
Yep. So now would be a perfect time to buy a Walton's chambered vacuum sealer. They are on sale, $824. Buy a half a beef and I should probably buy a whole beef and sock a bunch away for the next year and a half, which is really all a beef would last, me at least. So
you
how quickly
you probably
could I eat a whole beef?
You probably eat as much beef as like the average American family of 4.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Maybe more.
That's probably true. That's why I'm so red, white, and blue. It's just coming out my pores. But yeah, so keep an eye on that. Beef prices hopefully dropping in the short term, but most likely going up and up and up. There's this website that I keep going back to. It's eatthis.com. Their whole thing is eat this, not that. This is the unhealthiest steak to order, says a dietitian. Any guesses on what it is?
I mean, I would assume a ribeye because it's going to be the fattiest.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
This person should go find a new profession. A, fat's not bad for you. B, don't talk bad about my ribeyes.
Hold on, let me write this down. This sounds.
They are the best of all the steaks, and I'm not interested in having that conversation.
So I had last night.
Ribeye?
We went to Longhorn Steakhouse.
They're amazing.
I was like, yeah, I'm just going to. She goes, what do you get here? I go, I get the same thing every time. I get a ribeye steak. She goes, why is that? I was like, because it's the best steak. It has the most fat. I don't know why you wouldn't want it.
I mean, it definitely has the most flavor, in my opinion. It might not be it's not the most tender, but as long as you cook it right, it's perfectly tender.
And what's funny, even like the parts that are like not chewable, so to speak, like for a restaurant steak, they're almost often the most flavorful because it's the most fat on it. So you're just sitting there chewing. You're like, this is still, I'm chewing. Hey, I don't have an eating disorder. I'm just spitting this fat out right now.
The two most in shape people I know, we've had them over for dinner a bunch of times, and every time I've cooked them a ribeye, my one rule is I'll cook you a steak. Just any like little trimmings my dogs get to eat. And so we're getting towards the point where I'm getting ready to give my dogs some of like the trimmings. I look over, they had eaten every speck of fat. There was literally nothing left on the plate. They're like, I can lick the plates if they want. Yeah, but nice. I'm like, yeah, okay. So yeah, fat,
how
not necessarily bad for you.
How are they prepping steaks at a place like that where they're just turning out steaks? They're not doing reverse sears or anything like that.
They're probably sous videing them.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Sous videing them.
Yeah, they probably do
them off to temp or whatever.
Yeah, because you can hold them all at like just before rare. Yeah. And a rare you just throw on the grill for a minute.
Interesting.
And then other ones you just keep on the grill just a little bit longer. It just makes the whole process easier.
I would guess somewhere around 110 degrees is probably what they keep it at.
So the average consumer, I mean, I don't even know if they know what sous vide is at this point. We're kind of biased because we've been close to it.
Oh, I think it's a lot more common now. Sure.
But would you think they would be surprised at learning that a steakhouse would actually sous vide their steak?
I don't know.
That'd be a good.
I think it also probably depends on the level of the steakhouse. Like if you went to Morton's and that was
what is Morton's?
Sous vide is a real fancy steakhouse. I would think I would be surprised that they were doing it, but like a chain like that, no.
See, I don't know because, well, I mean, when I heard sous vide, it almost seems fancy, right? It seems very upper echelon. Where a place like that would not, but because they don't want the flame going, they don't want the sizzle in the back. It's a whole thing, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
you go to a chop house or something, you'd be like, oh, we're not cooking our steaks in water. They'd almost be very. So I could see it both ways, though.
You definitely see it both ways. My opinion, sous vide's main advantage is that you're not going to overcook it. No matter, it's never going to get hotter than the water it's in. So if you're you're trying to prep for a bunch of people, or like, all right, I want to come right back from whatever I'm going out to do and basically just throw them on the grill and have them done in like a minute. That's the way to do it. Other than that, reverse sear imparts more flavor.
You remember one of the last catered events we went to when we were out of town? We could tell all the steaks were sous vide. Well, because it's the amount of people that had steak in that room.
Yeah.
But then at the very end of it, and we assume where the bag was actually probably sticking out of water, was less tender than the rest of the steak. So.
Yep. Yeah, definitely possible, or definitely was what happened. And then you went and saw Tool.
Oh yeah,
Tool.
Yeah. Greatest.
Patrick was very happy about that.
Oh my God. We were standing on the floor. I was like, almost like a couple roadies went by, something Tool. Then John's laughing. He goes, you hear Tool's playing here? I go, what, the city? He's like, yeah, I guess. And I Googled it that night. No, the building we're in. And I was like, oh, I got to get a ticket to that.
Yeah, it was pretty much perfect timing. All right. So next article is Global Animal Slaughter Statistics and Charts from 2022 update. So the big one is obviously I copied the the chart over, and it's kind of a stupid chart. Well, because the lowest line by far is chicken. Chicken is lower than everything else. And then you read in the article a little bit, and it says, no, chickens are slaughtered in such high numbers that to properly show them on the chart, each unit represents 1,000 animals. So that red line in the bottom is actually 1,000 times higher than all the other ones.
That's insane.
So it's off the charts, literally off the charts. The interesting thing about that is look at sheep, look at cows, and look at chicken. From 1962 to now, an increase, but not dramatic at all. Very steady, couple ups and downs in there. Pigs, the increase in pig is 10 times what it is in cows, sheep, or chickens.
Like a 400% increase in pigs, but only a 50% increase in cows over 60 years, basically.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
How's lamb doing? Do we eat a lot of lamb as a nation? Because I mean, for me, sheep and stuff like that. But when I go to a restaurant, it's like you don't see.
Yeah, I'm surprised sheep is that high. Like that's darn near twice as many cows. I know they're a lot smaller, but still, like, do we eat? I don't know.
I don't personally eat any, so it's like, do you guys?
I don't know the last time I ate sheep.
Like, well, lamb,
sheep,
lamb chops or whatever. Yeah. We had some here when we did Spiceology. Other than that, I've never even eaten it.
They're always in the grocery store. Like they're literally always there.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably regional.
You can't get it at Applebee's, I'll tell you that. Well, you know what I mean? You go down, sit down at a restaurant, there's only a few places in town that you can go like, oh, get lamb chops at.
Okay, but think about it. The makeup of the country has definitely changed in the last like 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So you have more Middle Eastern, and that is a huge staple of their diet. So it might just not be part of our community, but it's bigger in other communities.
If it's not in our community, it's not real.
Okay.
Well,
fair enough.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a big enough number to go like, well, if people are eating it at that rate, and I don't personally help add to that number, it's just like something's.
You liked it though.
I really did enjoy it. Yeah, maybe I just need to
expand your palate.
Maybe go to Meddy's or something. Or
also, we need to get you to the point where you don't order steaks at steakhouses anymore.
Oh, well, I don't live with you, so I can't have the best steak ever all the time.
But you can.
I'm not going to buy
through osmosis. You should know how to make.
I know how to make. I just don't. I don't want to turn this into like me not wanting to cook my own food again for 20 minutes. But I did the rising cost of just even fast food in general. It's easier to palate when you think of it like just cut the number in half. Say I got like a burger, fries, and drink the other day. It was 13 even
from
Burger King. This is with medium sizes.
What?
Yeah, 13.
That's insane.
Even. Like there's no added anything. But what makes it easier to digest is if you think, well, I'm just paying a guy $7.50 to make it, and then the other half is the meal. So it's like it makes it easier in my head to go like I'd pay someone $5. Hey, can you make this for me really quick? And it's already a prepared meal, and then it's just like, oh, okay, then I guess the rest of the meal is only like $6 or $7.
All right, that's a decent way to look at it.
I'm tricking myself.
Sure,
that shouldn't be
but
reality.
I mean, you're paying for the employees there as well, so that makes some sense.
But it shouldn't.
If fast food has really gone up that much, people need to increase the amount that they're cooking at home.
I went there for a $5 meal. Didn't see it on the menu, panicked, and just chose a number. Do you guys not panic order at places?
Oh yeah.
There's like a time limit in your head. You go, I've been here 20 seconds too long.
Yep.
I've left places before I go, sorry, I couldn't. And I just leave. And wave.
Yeah, it's called fast food. If you don't order in like 30 seconds, like it feels like there's a gun to your head. And it's like, you better make a decision or get out.
You need to be moved along.
I was at Arby's. I go, you know what? They didn't have the two items I went there to get. Like those are the things they went, yeah, we don't sell those anymore. And it was like the ultimate fries and like a pizza slider. And I go, you know what? I really wanted that. I think I'm just going to go somewhere else.
Sure.
I'm now stuck in the drive-thru because there's three people in front of me, and now the guy behind me is ordering, and there's no lane to go around. So I stood in line for 20 minutes, set my car for 20 minutes, then drive away just to come back here mad.
So the moral of that story is don't eat fast food.
Yeah. Or just, you know what? Once you're there,
Right.
make a decision.
Yep. Just go with it. Go with it.
So we need to check out and see what the price of lamb or sheep, whatever, however you want to call it, whatever it is per pound. And we need to try making like lamb sausage. If there's that many sheep slaughtered across the U.S. every year, is it a viable alternative? And does it taste decent? Like, would it,
So
it's probably, would it compare more to beef or pork?
So this is global.
Oh, is this global?
This is global.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that lesson.
I thought it was across the U.S. and I'm like, that's insane.
That even lessens our interest in it. We're like, it's lamb sausage. Who cares about that?
Well, did we not make a lamb sausage? I feel like we did.
You can tell me. Maybe.
you could tell me. I thought we did like the Mediterranean sausage. I thought we did that in lamb. I'm pretty sure we did.
Good question.
I'm pretty sure we did, and it was nothing special. I didn't think it, at least anyways.
We'll look it up. So, well, what would we have put on top of that one? Hummus or something? I don't.
No. There was the Mediterranean sausage seasoning.
Oh, and
saying
we just happened to use.
Ground up some lamb and used it. I'm pretty sure.
Thinking of other things to make sausage out of, and we talked about Brat Fest earlier. How was your reaction to making some of our Brat Fest stuff out of beef? Or have you not been
No,
back
I did.
in the loop?
I responded with the two that I thought would be good.
I was expecting some sort of pushback from you.
No, I don't care. Dylan's making it. Right?
I think so.
That's still the
Yeah.
I know it's not. Beef is fine with a sausage. There are a few, very, very few snack sticks that I like beef better in than pork.
Taco.
Tacos, definitely one of no, fajita.
Mine was taco.
Oh, was it?
Personally,
okay.
I like taco.
Both those probably.
Mild cheddar cheese.
I like fajita better. The habanero barbecue is also excellent with beef. Like really, really good. I just did some out of the pepper stick, but I bought pre-ground beef because I didn't feel like grinding anything. Boy, that's a huge mistake. Don't like the tubes of ground beef. Do not buy those to make snack sticks out of. It is not good.
You know what?
It's already A, it's been overworked before it even gets to you, and B, to say that that's not like the prime cuts is putting it very mildly. The amount of connective tissue in that was just insane.
Is there a bacon cheeseburger flavored anything that we have, sausage and or snack stick?
We have bacon and we have cheeseburger.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a bacon cheeseburger.
I like where this is going.
Both together. So the cheeseburger cheddar wurst,
And then
then you just add some bacon to it?
do you think the bacon would probably overpower that cheeseburger cheddar wurst?
I don't think so.
No, it's got a really strong cheese.
I don't know. It
flavor.
just hit me. I was like, they have everything else, like you said, cheeseburger cheddar wurst. I was like, how come they don't just have a bacon cheeseburger? I mean, they make it in pizza, and I'm like,
They might not be able to nail it.
Yeah,
Like that's actually think about it. That's
zesty pickle, maybe even. And then if you want to, it
if
depends.
you wanted to do that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't want
I
to either,
wouldn't.
but there are some crazy.
Take all the pickles off everything.
Ooh,
So
I
another
agree.
one, and this one Tex and I both had, but it was the House Ag Chair announces bill to support small cattle farmers. I don't know how I feel about this. These government getting involved more in the meat industry always freaks me out a little bit. I mean, the good news is it's obviously aimed at the smaller process or smaller rancher. The bad news is once the government gets its hands in something, it's over. It's going to create more red tape for everybody. But it says the bill creates a new program that strengthens the federal safety net and makes insurance. Why won't that move? I've got this little white dot there that I can't get. So I'm assuming that's insurance.
Hit escape.
Yes.
Tricks of the trade.
Anytime there's something on the screen you don't know how to get rid of, and it's like
Escape.
there, hit escape.
Okay. And makes insurance products work better for small cattle farmers and ranchers, both in terms of coverage and accessibility. The second pillar establishes a grant program at USDA to help small farmers and ranchers and produce owner cooperatives to undertake innovative business initiatives. So that part I like.
It sounds very vague, though.
It's very, very vague, but if it means that you can have a co-op of 5 ranchers and they can pool their resources and open a slaughtering plant. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense in my mind, and it decentralizes the power, the responsibility from the ridiculously huge plants that something goes wrong there and all of a sudden, a fifth of the U.S. beef supply can't get to market.
Yeah. And for our own benefit, I mean, we deal with the small to mid-sized processor.
That has nothing to do with it.
That's who we care about the most. That's who we take care of, who comes to us for help. All around from just our side of things, it all sounds better. But
we've got tight supplies of meat and poultry combined with strong demand to boost retail prices. Just last week, we were talking about how prices had fallen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a short little reprieve that we got there.
I hope everyone enjoys roller coasters because going back to the drought and the beef that are increased number of beef that are getting slaughtered, we're just going to see prices going up and down from that. We're going to be on a roller coaster ride here for a while.
Prices might not come down from that. They might be looking out what's coming on the back end of that and just being like, well, we're just going to leave them either where they are or continue to climb them.
To be honest, probably what'll happen is they probably paid less for a lot of those cattle to slaughter them, and they're probably not going to lower the prices. Probably keep the prices high because they can,
and because they're going to be coming off of a drought. It's going to be an inferior product as well. So you're going to end up paying the same amount for same or more possibly for lower quality. Very unfortunate. But after making a strong run to end 2021, fed cattle prices have largely flattened in recent months. However, cost of grain for feedlot operators has risen considerably, further complicating operational efficiencies. We expect this to continue through the fall period. Although packer margins have compressed considerably over the 12 months, they remain elevated from a historical perspective. Yeah, so we're going to go back to 2020, mid 2020 to 2021, John, who ate less steak. Oh. That's what's going to end up happening. And you guys all remember how moody I was.
Yeah, it's going to be grumpy again.
Yep. Just constant anger. One from Consumer Reports, is your meat safe to eat? Short answer is yes, cook it correctly and move on. But it did have some interesting information in it. One of the things that I found really interesting and that we don't consider, and I think, like when we talk about why is ground meat different than a steak? Why do you have to cook that to 160 where you can cook a steak to 125? And we tend to think of that being because bacteria, microorganisms, everything like that grows on the outside of the steak. Very little, if any of it, grows in the muscle. Their point was that ground beef, when you buy it at a supermarket, it may have come from 6 different cattle. Like that is not one cattle's ground beef you're getting there. So if just one of those cattle beef had any bacteria, E. coli, anything growing on it, it is now infected everything else it touched. So I thought that was an interesting idea. It's not something we generally think of, mostly because we grind our own meat for the most part.
I like the place that was putting pictures of cows on the steak, and it would give you their name and a little backstory.
Oh, like this is so-and-so?
It's probably just PETA trying.
It was PETA. Oh, okay. It was PETA, yeah. But that was the joke that people are like, oh, this is great, great customer service. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's no, never mind. No, it's a good, I thought it was a funny practice. So.
But it does, if I saw like a picture of a cow with a name, I would 100% buy that one.
I want to look for one that has my name.
It's like the Coke thing. Yeah. Where's John? I want to be John.
Hold on. You guys have one with no H. I want this to be accurate.
Real quick. We talked about last week the fake meat that they're making taste like human.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Because then I wouldn't want to look for my name. No.
So I had to look up real quick since this report's talking about ground meat is safe to eat, who gets sick with different things. The amount of people that get sick with food poisoning in the U.S. each year, according to the CDC, is 1 out of 6. 46% of those are from leafy vegetables. 28% is from protein, beef, pork, chicken.
In this article, okay. Since 2018, outbreaks of food poisoning associated with raw meat have sickened at least 1,200 people.
It's not bad.
What? Yeah.
That's a sweet number.
That's the unbelievably small number.
And there's out of how many? What are they?
Millions of people get food poisoning every year.
You're not making the point you thought you were making there.
Jeez. I don't think now that you say that number, I don't think I've ever been a part of that statistic. Then it's just like they're not counting, I don't know, minor illnesses. I guess ones that wouldn't go to the hospital for, that wouldn't even get documented. But
so when we went up to Iowa State, one of the really interesting things that he told us, Jeff Sindelar was telling us, it's like you can have, say, 100 cells of salmonella. Eat that. You're probably not even going to notice. You have 1,000 cells, you might have to go to the hospital. You know, you're going to be sick. If you have like 10 cells of E. coli, you're in for a bad time.
The E. coli is the billionaire.
Significantly more problematic than salmonella, which is funny because you hear way more about salmonella.
It's just funner to say, I think.
Is it?
Salmonella.
E. coli?
Hey, it depends on how aggressive you want to get with your words.
Okay.
To me, I don't know. It rolls off the tongue. What about you, Austin? What's much funner to say?
I don't know. I'd go with salmonella unless with E. coli you threw in the 0157H7, whatever it is.
Why would you want to say that?
That sounds brutal. I changed my answer.
I'm not going to remember that.
I forget.
Do we know the major differences of, now that we're on the topic of salmonella / E. coli? I mean,
E. coli is like a fecal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Material, and salmonella is.
Well, now it makes sense as why it's way more brutal.
Man, I guess so. You were about to say something when I jumped in with the Iowa State story.
I don't remember.
Okay.
What was
when Patrick asked you that question and you were thinking about it, I thought he was questioning every decision he's ever made that brought him to this point. He's like, I can't believe I have to weigh in on this.
That's what I was like, well, it's an obvious joke because I said it so fast. And he's sitting there pondering it. And I was just like, oh boy, he's going for it. But when was the last time you guys got foodborne illness?
I know the exact time.
I
mean, I don't know that Austin knows that I got sick from this.
You ate raw meat like 6 months ago.
No, that was fine.
That's what I'm saying.
There was nothing.
So what could take you down?
Many years ago, when we first started doing these videos, I was cooking turkeys, and I had them in the smoker and left for lunch, came back, and they were done. I was like, oh, okay. Like, that was fast. I expected them to be in there for many more hours. So I pull them out, and Austin's looking at them. He's like, those don't look done. And I just started eating them. I'm like, well, it's delicious. I'm like, I think it's done.
Wow.
And then Dylan was like, hey, I think what happened was the probe, you had it in the meat, and I think it just slipped through and went into the cavity. He's like, so it just instantly read 165. And so I was like, oh, okay. And
Oof.
I had a pretty bad case for the next couple of days of that. But yeah, that was the last. So that was
Gross.
4 years ago. Had to be 4 years ago.
This is horrible timing. 2 days. I went through a not so good thing on Monday.
What did you eat?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
But
so you don't know that it's foodborne. You could have just had a stomach bug.
I could have, but the chances is that it came from something I ate. I mean,
if it acted that quick and there wasn't.
Did anyone else in your house get it? Oh, yeah, then it was probably foodborne.
Probably the Sprouts again every time.
Did you have Sprouts on anything?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
that's Sprouts.
That's the one you have to avoid.
But yeah,
perfect timing.
Yeah, horrible timing for this episode. But yeah, don't get food poisoning.
All right. Next, from Hometown Station, it says Bitcoin could be the future of the meat industry. The basic takeaway from the article is a big problem in meat processing is tracing where your beef actually came from, and Bitcoin.
That's like the major thing about the blockchain, right?
Does give that ability being on the blockchain. So it's interesting. Do I think it'll happen? No. But maybe coincidentally, Bitcoin has got up like 28% in the last 48 hours.
Yeah,
it's right around.
I have I don't pay attention to it, but like a few weeks ago, I saw all the dudes that got famous and rich from Bitcoin and stuff, they were complaining that it plummeted or whatever.
No.
But my buddy John, he's like, they're just saying that so that they could just buy it when everyone sells all their shares. And then, like you're saying, 48 hours ago, it just hit big. So
it's going back up. I mean, there's a trend. I can't spot what it is, but I'm not even a player in the game. So yeah. I mean, there's something called the halvening that happens, and this is somewhat on track for
That's
that.
a real term?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. I got to do my research now.
You don't. You really don't. All right. Nope. We're going to skip that story. That one. Just go on past it. You can read my note on it, which I wrote just out of anger. So livestock, cattle, hog futures climb on U.S. hot spell. Firm meat prices. So wholesale beef prices increased. Choice cuts of box beef rose by $1.64 to $270 per hundredweight on Monday, and select cuts were up 87 to 242 per hundredweight, according to the USDA. So our roller coaster prediction is probably wrong. It's probably the up part of the roller coaster, but that's it. Just continually go up until whatever eventually resets the market.
Wait, so I don't understand. Why are prices going up so much if there's going to be that much more supply? Makes no sense at all.
It's almost like there's collusion on what the prices should be. I mean, I know that would be...
that would never
That would
happen.
be wrong. There's another lawsuit against the Big Four.
Another one?
By Cisco.
Really?
Cisco is suing them.
Ah.
Yeah. So that one actually could get a little bit interesting.
Yeah. Cisco does enough. They got some weight behind them.
But there's not enough information on it to make it even worth really talking about other than in passing. But it's pretty interesting. This is one also that Tex had in there. It's Where's the Beef? So it's held back by the USDA. I've got a little bit here, and we've talked about this in the past. Upton St. Clair's The Jungle, which I had to read in, I think, elementary school. Which is
seriously
ridiculous to have an elementary school reader or read it. But I'm pretty sure I was in 5th grade when I read it, because they handed it out in like printed paper. Anyways, it says, American meat regulation began after activist Upton St. Clair worked undercover at a meat packing plant and wrote the book The Jungle. It became a huge bestseller. St. Clair's goal was to advance socialism, but his book became famous for exposing unsanitary conditions like rat infestations and rotting carcasses. The outcry over that led Congress in 1906 to declare that any meat sold must get a stamp of approval from the United States Department of Agriculture. So before then, you could just kill something and sell it, as you should be able to. Said, what did inspection entail? An absurd technique called poke and sniff. To find tainted meat, federal bureaucrats stuck little spikes into carcasses and then smelled the spikes. The process was ridiculous. The inspectors used the same spike over and over again, plunging them into multiple animals. Poking and sniffing sometimes made things worse by spreading disease from one carcass to the next. I would argue that the government has never made anything worse, and that is clearly propaganda by this author. Obviously, I'm joking there. Here is the shocking part and why I included this part. Have you already read ahead?
Uh-huh.
I could not believe this. Of course, governments do ridiculous things, and regulators, once they start doing them, keep doing them. The feds didn't stop poke and sniff until the late 1990s.
I want to fact check that, know if that's real. To be honest, one of the things, we can go over and talk to Kurt and go talk to Brett.
That's a fair
point. Be like, hey, do you, because we started, I wish my grandpa was still here, because he started things in 86. He would know for sure, because he worked for a processor, and then right before he started
Here's Brown
Midwestern
Store.
Research and Supply. But then Kurt worked for Holly Harned's before my grandpa and dad bought them. So Kurt's been in since before 96 sometime. Brett joined in 96. So they should have some sort of knowledge in there if they were doing that into the late 90s.
But here are 3 articles right away that say from 1906 to 1990s.
That's crazy.
I mean, are you kidding me? I graduated high school in 1998. They were still doing this when I was a senior in high school. Wow. Wow, that's insane.
Some of it kind of makes sense because
no, it doesn't.
I sniff meat and go, that's fine. Yeah. But
You're not a regulator.
It's going to cover a very small amount of what's okay and what's not, because there's a lot of things that there's no smell to it. So
didn't this guy just get sick 2 days ago?
Yeah, Austin, you may not be the best the judge of that. Did I tell you about the steak I had to throw away here like a month ago? 2 months ago?
No.
How long has Justin been here?
Longer than that.
2-3 months?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So one of his first days, I went and wanted to go over like reverse searing and why we do what we do. So I went and got 2 steaks, opened them up, put them down on a cutting board, and kind of smelled something bad, but I was like, maybe he let one rip. No big deal. Smell went away. I was like, all good.
So the smell went away. You just got used to it.
Season one side, or both sides of one steak. Go to flip one of the steaks over. As soon as I flip it over, like the smell goes, I'm like, oh, that is bad. Ooh. So I took it to Dylan and had him smell it. He's like, do not eat that. The Best By date was 3 days in the future. So you can't just go by that. Like, yeah. And you can't cook spoilage out of food. Once it's spoiled, it's spoiled. You can make it safe.
It could make it, it could be safe to eat, but it's still gonna taste bad.
It's gonna taste bad.
Texture's probably gonna be off, and it's just gonna be unappetizing all around.
Yeah, you know what? I used to think I wasn't a big like texture
mouthfeel.
Don't do that. You got through the entire beaver tail thing without saying it. I think it was because you were so upset about how bad it was.
I
never brought it up.
was just on the verge of puking the entire time.
Oh.
And it was so funny. The promo for that's running right now. It's just like a 30-second thing of him just trying to.
But yeah, I guess I am a texture guy because I hate mashed potatoes. I hated that. Beaver tail, even though the taste was okay.
You don't even judge food for taste. You just go, oh, you know us.
No,
can't do it.
Speaking of mashed potatoes, you got lucky. I don't know if you noticed, but I was asking questions and poking around Meatgistics this weekend and was asking people
I saw the Willet barbecue
suggestions for mashed potatoes. And I was going to do that this week. And well, we were gone Friday.
We got to talk about that.
I was gone almost the whole day Monday. I was gone the whole day Tuesday. Today's just been back and forth.
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, getting yanked around. So I just haven't had time. But we'll see how crazy I get with it. But I'm going to end up making a lot of mashed potatoes because I'm going to find one that you like.
So everybody in my extended family, everybody in my friend group, absolutely adore my mom's mashed potatoes. So it's not the fact that I haven't had access to good mashed potatoes. I just don't like it.
When I make you mashed potatoes that you like, you're gonna have to say that I'm a better cook than your mom.
We should do a mashed potato taste off or whatever we bring in.
I'm not eating more than I will try it like you tried the beaver tail, but that's it. I'm not trying 50 different types of mashed potatoes. 3
different mashed potatoes. You tried 3 different beaver tail.
All right, fine.
Well, I'm gonna bring,
but it can't be a Will barbecue.
No,
it's probably just a podcast segment.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying I'm gonna bring in the best mashed potatoes ever, the ones you microwave from Bob Evans. Tell me that's not in a bind. You got 5 minutes. As far as texture, that's better than the pouch ones for sure. It's an upgrade.
To be honest, sometimes they're better than regular potatoes, in my opinion, because if you don't mash them right, and then you end up with texture that you're like, oh
yeah.
Now
the box ones, you know what you're getting.
Just to prove that I would be open to if I liked them, I would say it. I've always my entire life I've hated ricotta cheese. Had some at what is it? The place on campus,
the Social Tap.
The Social Tap, it was awesome. They had a pesto and some crushed red pepper, chili sauce on it, and it was great. Texture still wasn't awesome, but the taste was awesome. So I'm open to liking them. I just know that I won't.
Here, one of the potatoes has to have ricotta cheese in it now too. So.
Don't do that.
One of them is going to be a loaded, twice baked potato type of thing. Because you can't say no to that.
Yes, I can. I hate baked potatoes. The only type of potatoes.
You don't even like baked potatoes?
The only type of potatoes I like are French fries.
You don't like sweet potatoes?
That's it. I'll eat them, but I don't love them.
With the works, with the marshmallows and the sauce and the
yams.
We're
talking about the candied yams.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mostly just eat the marshmallows and the sugar sauce mostly.
Yeah. Isn't that how it always ends on like Thanksgiving? Like you have a plate of them and like all the marshmallows and stuff is gone and only like half of the yams
you're
are
always
gone.
Throwing them, you're raking those out for sure. You go, who wants
don't really want that stuff.
So I have another idea. If you like French fries, I saw this recipe the other day and I haven't tried it yet, but it was basically like mashed potato French fries.
Oh, I saw that.
You basically take them, you freeze them, and then you bread them and deep fry them. And you can make them as big or as small as you want, but you can make them pretty thin. And
I was about to say my stupid thing again with deep frying. About to say that again. And I was like, no, that's not true. All right. So real quick, we were gone last Friday. We were at a Pass It On Outdoor Mentors golf tournament.
I wonder if they would tell us how much money they raised off that.
We can find out.
Because that was such a cool event. That honestly, that's the only time like I go play golf anymore is fundraisers. Yep. Hands down, that's the best golf fundraiser like I've been to ever.
Absolutely. It wasn't like all the games that they had going on there, just the general environment. So you guys have met Brittany. She's been on the podcast twice. Mike has been on the podcast at least twice. A couple other of the Pass It On people. Brittany is now the vice president, which is great. I mean, that torch has to be passed at some point. And Mike was down in Argentina shooting doves, so he wasn't at this one. So
you were so concerned about Mike.
I thought you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So like I went up and asked Brittany at the end and she's like, oh no, he's down in Argentina shooting doves. I was like, oh, well then forget him. But anyways, so they did this thing where you could buy a golf ball and it was $100, but you took it with you from hole to hole and it was your mulligan ball. There were some rules with it, but it was a great idea. At the end of it, if you passed in, or if you signed it and gave it in, you were entered into somebody would win $500. So I was hoping we would win that. They had some raffle items, so I bought some raffle tickets. Not many though. I think I only bought $20 worth.
Yeah, I bought so many more tickets than you and I didn't get jack.
I put one into a cigar, 2 into whiskey, 1 into optics, and 1 into a crossbow. Never knew I wanted a crossbow.
You only put 1 in the crossbow?
1 into the crossbow.
Now I'm pissed because I did put more than 1 in the crossbow.
So they're drawing everything and, it didn't expect to win anything. I bought $20. Anything I donate or buy from Pass It On Outdoor Mentors, I look at as almost a tax on me for not having kids, but wanting good kids to be around, right? Like you want them to turn into good people. So like, fine, I'll give them money, no problem. But I won the Mission Sub 1 crossbow. No idea like what it cost, anything like that. It comes with a scope, the claw, so like the quiver goes right underneath it. It has a decocking feature. Went home and looked it up. It is more expensive than any of the guns I own. Even my overpriced AR, as long as you take out the red dot magnifier I put on it. So
it's available in retail stores, like the model you have. You can buy it right now. Okay.
Yep, it's a Mission Sub 1.
I was making sure it wasn't like a special one of one for this event. That's cool, dude.
Nope. But I did mess it up. And I told everybody on Meatgistics this already, so I'm not breaking any news here. The decocking feature, I remember from when I had to take hunter safety, they always said never fire it empty to decock it. You should have a decocking arrow. But I was too excited, like when I started playing with it, so I cocked it. And I was like, oh no. Like, I don't have a decocking arrow. What am I going to do? So I started reading the manual, because of course I cocked it before I read anything on the manual. And they're like, yeah, this new decocking feature. I was like, awesome. So I decocked it. I was like, oh, that is so cool. Cocked it, decocked it, cocked it, decocked it, cocked it, decocked it. And then they gave me a block. So I went in my backyard, shot an arrow. And as soon as I shoot it, I noticed that like the string looks like it's coming unwound. And I was like, one of the things I remember the most from the crossbow section was never fire a crossbow with a frayed string. I was like, oh God. Like I probably just cost myself $400 to have this restrung. Turns out it's just something called the server that protects the actual string. So I just need to take it down to diamond archery. But hopefully this year I will get to go January crossbow hunting for deer.
Or turkey hunting.
Turkey hunting.
Or
goose hunting in my backyard.
Last week we talked about human flesh. So are you going to go human hunting?
No. We didn't talk about human flesh. We talked about the taste of human flesh.
True. But we have to remember from like 3 or 4 podcasts ago, we can't talk about these things because people take you out of context. You can get the police called on you here.
Yes.
So does this crossbow look like the Norman Reedus one from like the first season of Walking Dead? Okay. So
very
like
similar
that.
to
So
that.
you have to then...
So it's a little bigger than that, but yeah.
So if you missed a shot, how quickly would it take you to reload, so to speak?
5 seconds.
Oh, okay. So nothing too. No. That was always my concern. Like when people pick a crossbow for their apocalypse weapon, I was like, you got like one shot, unless it's one of those ones where it like racks itself. I'm sure
I don't think those ones actually exist.
Yeah. I'm using the term. Yeah. Like, there's no way that could be a thing.
Mythbusters did one on that, and I only know that because Joe Hell. I was talking to him about it yesterday, sometime. And he was like, yeah, Mythbusters, when they did their Gatling crossbow, was working with me to get like the strings right. I was like, you worked with Mythbuster? I'm like, what have you done? So he used to be big on the archery scene, but I thought that was pretty cool. Also, we are going to have him on the podcast here in the next couple of months. We've talked about it a little bit, but he's doing really interesting stuff with sausage. So
psilocybin mushrooms.
But that's jerky.
Oh,
so that's
jerky.
Different.
Okay.
Yeah. But just like his regular things he's doing is
he just makes crazy stuff.
He's gone like beyond whatever you would call like artisanal into like experimental.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's using psilocybin on jerky, so it's cool. I think we'll all get a kick out of talking to him.
Do you guys ever compare like what he's doing in the meat processing realm to like people when they make their own beer and beverages at home? Like
that's kind of fair.
Until you put it in
it's kind of fair.
Such plain black and white, I never even grouped them together.
But he's almost like a novice who got hired on at a brewery, who then almost instantly became the head brewer.
Oh, that's cool.
So like, all right, well, this guy clearly has an affinity for this. Let's just let him run the sausage.
That's so cool.
So that's pretty cool. All right, we got anything else?
No, not that I can.
Once again, we forgot to say, leave a review at the beginning of it, but whatever. If you stuck with us this long, please leave a review. You obviously like us. Or hate us.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, if they leave a positive review, do we care?
We don't care.
And if it's bad, I usually just delete it.
We just get rid of that anyways. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltonsinc.com. And to get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Walton's, everything but the meat.